This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today we're going to be talking about a game called Worms, the board game. It's actually a video game that they transferred over to a board game. As usual, I'm not going to explain every rule to you because there's really nothing exciting about this. But it's a game from Mantic. We're going to talk about a few things on the other side of this. I've decided on a last minute whim, there were only had a few left at Miniature Market. And, for the $150, $160 that I paid for this, for a $50 game, which I really feel, we're going to talk about it, and then we'll talk a lot more about it on the other side. Let's go down. I'll kind of take you a look at it. I've always been on the fence with these games that take video games and move them to board games. I always feel that you can move a board game over to a video game to make it easier with setup. But when you take sometimes a game like this and move it over and make it more, there's some good things and there's some okay things. So let's go down, take a look at it, and then we'll come back on the other side. We'll talk more about this. So I'm not going to tell you all the rules here, but you're going to get a bunch of these different tiles, and you're going to have different things that you can set up. In the back here, they will kind of give you some, a nice little area to kind of start out as, so you can get a good feel for the game. And they got a nice example of the turn. My thing is, you go through all the setup, you're going to have a certain amount of cards in your hand, and you're going to be playing these cards, okay? Maybe you have a handgun, okay? You're going to assign yourself certain different types of weapons and stuff like that. You'll have mines that you can place, and baseball bats and things like that. These are actually weapons that you're going to be able to pick up. You're going to have your own cards that you are going to be utilizing, and they're going to have certain symbols on them. One that says read the target ability, or do what the card says, and another one will give you an ability. Some have an accuracy of 4. You're going to have to roll and hopefully hit accuracy. There are different types of markings on the die for direct hits and scatter. Your wind will go a certain way, so when you try to fire at something, it'll move. And if you blow up certain areas, you're going to hit it a few times, and then eventually it's going to be water, and if your guy is there, he's going to go through and drown, or like in the video game, he may go off the board and just instantly die, or you may get a hit and you can be wounded. You can, on your turn, on a player turn, you can activate a worm to open up a supply crate, and a lot of this stuff is just very it's for the money, it's just it's mediocre quality, but if you really like this is something that's going to be up your way. You can heal a damaged worm on a player's turn. You can inch or jump. Jumping's a whole different thing. We won't go too much into it. You play a weapon card from your hand, okay, and then if you play that, you're going to target something. I'm going to target. You're going to try to hit it. Hopefully you hit it or catch a different area, which might cause different explosions and things like that, and help you in some of your strategy. You'll end your turn. You'll draw a drop card, which for here, okay, so you could place 2 supply crates in the emptiest hex. Place a supply crate in the emptiest hex. Change the wind direction. Your wind direction, you have a little arrow here that you have, I didn't put out here, which will go. You'll play a certain amount of turns, and then if you want to speed up at the end of that game to finish the game, you have these Armageddon cards, which you will play one, and it will help speed up the game. There are certain things that you flip this for. It's 50-50. I just think rolling a six-sided die would be better instead of taking a chance where somebody can just kind of flip a dumb coin. The collector's edition comes with, you're going to get extra dice. You're going to get this this map, which really doesn't add too much. You're going to get kind of almost the same sculpts and a couple different sculpts of worms, which really don't really play into it because you're not playing that particular worm. It's a game that is very simple, and for the money, I just don't. I just found it very bland for me. It might be for somebody who is a massive Worms fan really be sucked into this. For me, it felt very flat. There's going to be targeting, placing target tokens in hexes. You're going to have airstrikes, direct hexes. You can aim for a direct hex and try to blow that hex out to keep them in defensively. Your card references, like I said, resolve the text on the card. If you have that particular here, that is, you can inch or jump. That's going to give you an ability, so you're going to follow everything on that particular card. And then, of course, there are things that can actually help you. You could play a card which will allow you to play another card in tandem to try to tag team stuff. The book is very well written. You could pick up the game pretty quickly. And like I said, the retail version, like I said, the craters, you're going to start blowing things up until you, turn it into water. And then, as I said, those water hexes are deadly to the worms, as well as getting blasted off a hex. A deadly worm. It feels like worms. It just, my problem with these things a lot of times is that they are better off video games than board games. And for the price, $159 for this collector's edition, and the retail version is about, I think it was like 60 or 70. I don't want to be, and you get a lot less. Excuse me. I just feel that kind of, it doesn't really add anything unless you are a massive Worms fan and you think this is something that'll really work. And it just might for you. For me, it didn't. It was something more I was hoping that would catch the entertainment of my grandkids, and it just didn't, because they did like watching me play Worms here. They give you a beautiful example of a turn, and it's just there's nothing about this that really stands out and screams this is a fantastic $150 game. And it's not a bad game. I don't think it's a great game. It's a middle of the road game for me. Okay, this isn't here to bash a company that really puts in a lot of effort and a lot of heart, and they really do. And but I also have to be honest with myself when I spend this kind of money, and I get this little itty bitty box for $160. It's just I don't see it, and the gameplay isn't so overwhelming that I am blown away by it. But again, this might be for you. There's different types of tiles in here that you'll get in the collector's edition if you want to go that route. They have all kinds of different both double-sided. The quality is okay, and there's some extra rules for 5 to 6 players, which is really good, because you can really make this a party game if you want to, and you're going to get out of it what you put into it, I think. And it's how you feel about a game like this, like Worms. Is it something very personal to you, and you want a board game version of it, and it'll work for you? Other than that, turn on your Xbox. But a good effort. I just think it misses a little bit on a few things. So let's go up top and get my final thoughts. One of the big things that I pushed myself for, there was only a few left. I thought this would be a game that I can translate over in maybe 6 months to a year to my grandkids, and that my one particular granddaughter I thought would really gravitate towards this. The thing is, it is just so bland, and the quality. You know, I paid $160 for this little itty bitty box. Yeah, you got the map, which really doesn't add anything. And you got extra miniatures, which are just extras of the same sculpts. And while the game feels like Worms, it just isn't as exciting as Worms, the video game. And this doesn't translate very well. This is just another very mediocre, it's a Mantic game. And that's the way I feel about this stuff. You know, you get excited. They got a great hype machine, and Ronnie, and you know, he knows how to sell his stuff, and they've got their fans. God bless them, and they appeal to a market of people that, you know, can't afford to go, you know, spend $500-600 for an army at Games Workshop. They do a good job. It's just with a lot of these things, it just turns out you could play it once or twice and forget it, and that's what they seem to do. This game, I just don't think works that great. It's not any real fun. I think it's okay. The kids looked at it and went, no. And you know, it was a waste of money for me. And I hope, you know, and if this is the collector's edition, the regular retail edition, I mean, what's that like? You know? So, you know, this will be in an auction, you know, and I feel, you know, I just wasted some good credit I had. And, you know, I could have got something better. For extra $40, I could have got Agemonia with all that content and all that stuff. And this, I'm paying for an IP. Is what I'm doing. I'm paying for an IP of a game that, you know, is just kind of mediocre at best. And that's unfortunately how I feel about it. I don't like doing negative things. I don't like picking on Mantic, because I actually do kind of like them a bit. You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for them. I always will. You know, I just, every single time, and it's not that I don't like this company. I want to love them, because, you know, the fundamentals and what they do is good and solid. And, you know, there's people that'll stand on a hill for them, and that, hey, that's great. They need those people. Unfortunately, I'm just not one of them. And I have to be honest, and I have to put my head on a pillow at night. You know, I can't just sit here and tell you, yeah, go get this. And that bothers me. I never am a fan of making this type of video. I just think it's mediocre at best. So a lot of money wasted, and I just that's unfortunately how I feel. And it's not a popular decision. I'm sure there's people that'll love this. For me, I'll just, if I want to play Worms, I'll go on my Xbox, turn it on, and I will go from there. All right. So there you have it, folks, and until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.